Hey everyone, welcome back to Talk English Now. I'm Maya, and if you've ever had something deep to say, but just didn't know how to say it in English, this one's for you.
Yeah, we're not talking about big complicated words here. We're talking about those moments when you feel something important inside you, an emotion, a thought, something real, but you stop, because you don't know how to express it in English. Or maybe, even in your own language.
And sometimes you do try. You say a few words, but it feels flat. It feels like something is missing, like the words didn't carry the weight of what you were really feeling.
Exactly. That's the problem we're diving into today. How do you say deep things in simple English? And why do so many people struggle with this?
Joining us today is Sophie, our language expert and honestly a kind of translator between human feelings and simple words. Welcome, Sophie.
Thanks, Maya. That's probably my favorite way to be described.
Let's get right into it, Sophie. Why is it so hard for people to say something meaningful when they're speaking in a language that isn't their first?
There are a few reasons, but let's start with the most basic one. Emotional vocabulary is often the last thing people learn. Most language learners begin with nouns, chair, book, train. Then verbs, go, eat, work. Then they move into full sentences. But very few people are taught how to say, I feel misunderstood, or I don't know how to explain what's inside me.
So true. And I think schools don't really teach us that, even in our native language.
Right. Because emotional expression isn't about grammar. It's about honesty, about clarity. And in English, the beautiful thing is, you don't need fancy words to do that. You just need the right simple ones.
Can you give us an example of that?
Of course. Let's say you feel disconnected from your friend. A lot of learners try to say, I feel a little bit emotionally unbalanced due to our lack of interpersonal connection. But that sounds robotic, even if it's grammatically correct. Instead, you could say, I miss the way we used to talk. Or, I don't feel close to you lately. Simple, honest, deep.
That hits hard because it feels human.
Exactly. Simplicity doesn't make something less powerful. In fact, simple words often hit deeper because they sound real. They sound like you.
That's powerful. So where should someone start if they want to get better at expressing real emotions in English?
Start with the emotions themselves. Instead of learning 10 complex feelings, start with 5 that you know you feel often. For example, sad, angry, confused, hopeful, tired, then. Build short sentences around them. Like, I feel sad when I'm alone. I'm confused about what I should do next. I'm tired of pretending I'm okay. Those are real sentences. You don't need poetry. You need honesty.
And what about people who feel embarrassed? Like they think their English isn't good enough to express something emotional.
That's super common. But here's the truth. People don't connect with perfect grammar. They connect with sincerity. If your voice is shaking and your sentence is broken, but the feeling is real, people will hear you. They will feel you.
Wow, that gave me chills.
Me too. You know, there's something about being able to just say what's inside you, even if your words aren't perfect.
Yes. And here's something practical for everyone listening. Create your own emotional phrase bank. Write down short, honest sentences that match your real feelings. Here are a few examples. I feel invisible sometimes. I want to feel understood. It's hard for me to trust people. I don't know what I need, but I know I'm not okay. I feel safer when I'm quiet. These are the kinds of things people carry inside but don't know how to say in English. Once you write them, read them aloud. Practice saying them like you mean them.
That's such a powerful exercise. I love the idea of an emotional phrase bank.
It's like learning not just to speak English, but to speak yourself.
Exactly. And over time, you'll begin to combine these honest phrases with everyday conversation. For example, instead of saying, "I'm fine," when you're clearly not, you might say, "I've had better days." Or, "I'm okay, just a little tired emotionally." Simple tweaks, but they show you're alive inside.
Sophie, that's so helpful. And also, it makes me want to cry a little.
That's the beauty of language. When it works, it opens the heart.
Let me ask something a little personal, Sophie. Have you ever been in a situation where you had to express something deep in a language that wasn't your first?
Yes. And I remember the fear. I was in a hospital, far from home, and I had to say, "I'm scared." Just that. Not a long sentence. Just, "I'm scared." And the nurse, she didn't correct my grammar. She held my hand. That moment taught me that the words don't need to be perfect. They need to be true.
Wow, that's so human. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
So if someone listening today wants to start speaking more deeply, what's one small thing they can do after this episode?
Talk to yourself. Really. Take 5 minutes at night and just say out loud how you're feeling. Use simple English. You can say, "I feel good today." "I feel empty." "I don't know what I want." "I'm proud of myself." Practice this daily. Over time, your mouth will learn to carry your feelings in English, not just your thoughts.
I love that. Talk to yourself like someone worth listening to.
That's the quote of the day right there.
Thanks, Aiden.
This has been one of my favorite episodes so far, and we're just getting started. There's a lot more coming in the next part. How to express emotional stories, how to respond when someone shares something deep, and the hidden power of silence in English.
We'll be right back with more. Keep listening. So Sophie, you mentioned something that really stuck with me just before the break, that people don't need perfect grammar to connect, they need realness. But what happens when someone else is the one saying something emotional in English and we don't know how to respond?
Great question. A lot of people freeze in those moments. Someone says something deep, like, "I feel alone," or "I don't think I matter." And suddenly, you're worried. You don't want to say the wrong thing. So you say nothing, or you change the topic.
Right? Or you give a very surface level answer, like, "Don't say that," or "You'll be fine," which can feel like you're not really listening.
Exactly. And that creates a distance. So here's the truth. You don't need perfect words to support someone. You need presence. You need short, honest responses that show empathy. Here are a few phrases you can use, even if your English is simple. "That sounds really hard." "I didn't know you felt that way." "I'm here if you need to talk." "I hear you." "You're not alone." Simple, supportive, safe.
Those phrases are gold, because they're easy to remember but full of meaning.
And they take the pressure off. You don't have to give advice. You just have to be there.
Exactly. And if you're ever unsure what to say, just ask a soft question. Like, "Do you want to talk about it?" "What helps you feel better?" "Can I sit with you for a bit?" Even in English, emotions don't always need solving. They need space.
That's so true. And speaking of space, can we talk about silence?
Yes. Please. This is one of the most underrated communication tools.
I'm so glad we're bringing this up because in many cultures, including mine, silence feels awkward. Like if there's a pause, you feel like you have to fill it.
Totally. But in English, especially in deeper conversations, a little silence can mean everything. It gives people time to feel, to think, to breathe. And if you're learning English, Silence can be your friend. You don't have to respond immediately. It's okay to pause. You can say, "Let me think for a second," or just smile, nod, and hold the moment.
So the pause doesn't mean weakness. It means you're present.
Exactly. We often think fluency is about speaking fast, but fluency is about being real. And sometimes, being real means saying less.
That's so freeing, honestly, because I think a lot of learners feel like they have to fill every second with perfect English.
And that's exhausting. The truth is, being fluent in emotions is just as important as being fluent in grammar. And that includes things like tone, timing, and softness. Let me give you a simple dialogue example. Imagine a friend says, "Friend, I feel like no one really sees me." Instead of trying to fix it, you can say, "You, I see you." Pause, you matter to me. That moment, that pause, the quiet in between, it speaks.
That gave me goosebumps. I can feel how powerful that is.
Me too. And I'm thinking about learners who may feel like they're too new to English to ever get to this level. What would you say to them?
I'd say this is where you start. Deep communication doesn't need big vocabulary. It needs small, honest words used with care. Here's another exercise I recommend. Write out 3 real moments from your week. Things that made you feel something. Then describe them in 1 sentence each, using simple English. For example, "I missed my mom today." "I felt nervous before my presentation." "I laughed so hard I almost cried." These are everyday things, but they're emotional. And practicing these sentences helps you become fluent in your real life.
And I imagine this helps with storytelling too, right?
Absolutely. The next step after expressing feelings is sharing stories. And again, you don't need complex language. Here's a story using only basic vocabulary. Last year, I moved to a new city. I didn't know anyone. I felt lonely every day. But one day, a neighbor said hello. She smiled. It made me feel like I belonged. Simple words, but full of heart.
I think a lot of people underestimate how powerful small sentences can be.
They do. But think about it. What sentence changed your life? It was probably something like, "I love you." "I believe in you." "You can do this." "I'm proud of you." Or even, "I'm leaving." Big feelings. Small words. That's the magic.
So true. It's like the smaller the sentence, the deeper it sometimes hits.
That's right. And it also makes English more accessible. You don't need to memorize long speeches. You need to be real, clear, and kind with yourself and others.
Okay, Sophie, let's get super practical. What are 5 things someone listening can start doing today to express themselves more deeply in English?
Love it. Here they are. Practice emotional sentence writing. Write 3 honest sentences about how you feel each day. Create your personal phrase bank. Collect simple emotional phrases you relate to. Say feelings aloud. Practice speaking your emotional sentences, even to yourself. Watch slow, emotional scenes in English. Observe the tone, pauses, and vocabulary used. Use emotional check-in questions. Start your day by asking, "What do I feel? What do I need?" Then answer in English, even if it's simple.
That last one, wow. It's like combining self-care with language learning.
Exactly. Emotional fluency in English actually helps your emotional fluency in life, because you're paying attention to what's happening inside, and you're learning how to give it a voice.
This is what makes this podcast so meaningful. We're not just teaching people how to say good morning or where's the train station. We're teaching people how to say things that matter.
Yeah, like I feel alone, or that hurt me, or I'm proud of myself. Things that actually change how you connect with the world.
And that's the kind of English people carry with them forever.
We've got so much more to unpack in the next part. How to describe emotional memories, how to use tone and pauses like native speakers do, and the hidden phrases that show emotional intelligence in English.
So stay with us. You're not just learning English, you're learning how to say what's real. So, Sophie, we've talked a lot about expressing everyday emotions in simple English. But what about emotional memories? Sometimes we carry something from the past, something painful or beautiful, and we want to share it, but we don't know how to start.
Yes, emotional memories are so powerful and so vulnerable. When people want to share a memory, they usually worry about saying it correctly. But what matters most is saying it safely and honestly.
So where do you start? If someone wants to tell a story from their past but they feel stuck,
Start with structure. A simple way to share a memory in English is to use this three-part frame. When it happened, what happened, how it made you feel. Let me give you an example using simple English. When I was 10, my father left. I didn't understand why. I felt like something inside me broke. For years, I didn't talk about it. But even now, when I hear the word goodbye, it hurts. It's not fancy, but it's real. The moment, the event, the emotion, all clear.
And the impact comes from the feeling, not the vocabulary.
Exactly. People don't remember long words. They remember true ones.
I love that. And I'm also curious, what role does tone play here? Because sometimes learners say something serious, but it sounds like they're just reading a sentence.
Tone is huge. And here's the key: slow down when you say something that matters. Even if your English is basic, slowing your pace adds depth. Add short pauses. Let your voice soften. You don't have to act emotional. Just give your words space to breathe. Here's how the same sentence changes with tone. Flat. I felt sad when my friend moved away. Emotional. I felt sad when my friend moved away. The second version feels different, even if the words are the same.
That's such a useful trick. So you don't need more words, you just need to feel the ones you already have.
Exactly. Think of your voice like a highlighter. Use it to show people what's important.
So many learners focus on vocabulary lists, but they never learn how to use their voice as a tool.
Right. But you can practice this. Take one emotional sentence, like I miss you, and say it 5 different ways. Whisper it, say it slowly, say it like you're holding back tears, say it like you're smiling through it, say it like it's a secret, same words. Different tones. Different meanings.
Okay, I love this. It's like voice training for emotions.
That's exactly what it is. And the best part is, you don't need anyone else to practice. You can do this alone, in your room, just listening to your voice carry the truth of what you feel.
Let's go a little deeper, Sophie. What about emotional intelligence in English? How can people show that they're emotionally aware even if their English is still simple?
That's a great topic. Emotional intelligence isn't about big words. It's about the ability to name your feelings, respond with care, and understand other people's emotions too. Here are a few English phrases that show emotional maturity. I'm not sure what I'm feeling right now, but I know it matters. It's okay if we see things differently. That wasn't your fault. I need a little time to think. I hear you, and I'm trying to understand. These are all short, but they open space for safety and growth.
They sound like things a wise person would say.
And they're within reach. Anyone can learn them. And more importantly, anyone can mean them.
It's almost like learning English becomes a journey of learning yourself.
That's beautifully said. Because it does. The more you try to express your inner world in English, the more you start paying attention to what that world really feels like. And here's something beautiful I've noticed in learners. When they stop chasing perfect English and start chasing honest English, their confidence grows. Not just in the language, but in who they are.
That gave me chills, honestly.
Same. And it's funny, we started this episode thinking we'd talk about simple English, but it feels like we're actually talking about something really big.
We are. We're talking about voice, about self-expression, about being seen and heard in a world where so many people feel invisible. And English, when used gently, can become a bridge between who you are and who you're becoming.
Okay, let's zoom in again and get practical. For someone listening who wants to sound more emotionally aware in English, what are a few daily practices they can do?
Sure. Here are 4 simple things you can do every day. Emotion labeling practice at the end of each day. Ask, what did I feel today? What caused that feeling? Answer in 1 English sentence. Reflective listening practice. Watch a short emotional video clip in English. After each line, pause and repeat the sentence aloud with the same tone. Kindness sentences. Practice saying simple, kind phrases to yourself or others. You're doing your best. It's okay to feel this. One small step is still progress. Emotional check-in questions. Practice asking people things like, how are you? Really? What's been on your mind lately? Is there anything you want to talk about? These phrases make you sound mature, thoughtful, and emotionally present, even if your grammar is basic.
You know, Sophie, the beauty of all this is that these aren't just English lessons, they're life lessons.
That's the heart of it. Language is not just something we speak, it's something we live. And the more we live in honesty, the more natural English begins to feel. And that's the kind of English people carry with them forever.
Wow. I wish someone taught me this when I first started learning a second language. It would have saved me years of silence.
It's never too late to start. And remember, you don't need to sound poetic. You just need to sound true.
Coming up in the final part of today's episode, we'll explore what to do when you want to express something, but you still don't have the words. Plus, how to ask for emotional support in English without sounding dramatic, and how simple language can actually make your relationship stronger.
So don't go anywhere. The most beautiful part is still ahead.
So, Sophie, what about those moments when you do want to express something important, but the words just don't come? You feel it, you know it's there, but when it's time to say it, there's just silence.
That's one of the most common and painful things people go through, especially in a second language. You're not quiet because you don't care. You're quiet because you care too much, and you're afraid of saying it wrong, or not being understood.
And sometimes that silence lasts for years. You carry the feeling around, waiting for the right words that never arrive.
Yes. So here's what I tell people. Say something anyway. Even if it's just the beginning. Even if it's just, I don't know how to say this. That alone is a powerful sentence. It's honest. It opens the door. Here are some helpful starter phrases you can use when words don't come easily. I'm not sure how to explain this. Can I try to say something important? It's hard for me to talk about this, but I want to try. I don't have the perfect words, but I hope this makes sense. Please listen closely, even if I say it badly. These phrases give you permission to speak, even imperfectly. And they tell the other person, this matters to me.
And just saying that this matters to me can be more powerful than a perfect sentence.
Exactly. Because when you say, this matters to me, you're not just sharing words. You're sharing yourself.
I've noticed that when people speak from that place, from that raw, uncertain, real space, others really lean in. They listen more carefully because they feel the honesty.
Absolutely. And here's the secret. The less you try to sound perfect, the more human you sound. And being human is what makes people listen.
Let's flip it now. Let's say someone is trying to express something heavy to you and you feel nervous, like you won't understand them or won't know how to support them. What can you say in that moment?
First, take a breath. Remember, you're not there to fix anything. You're just there to witness it. Here are some simple, emotionally safe responses. I'm listening. Take your time. It's okay. Say it however you can. You don't need to explain everything. I'm here. I may not understand it all, but I want to. These small responses give the other person space, and they let you relax too. You don't have to be a therapist. You just have to be present.
I think that's what most people really want. Not advice, not solutions, just someone who's with them.
Exactly. And that's where English becomes more than a language. It becomes connection.
Sophie, we've talked a lot about individual communication, what you say, how you say it, but what about relationships? How does speaking simply and honestly in English change the way we connect with others?
It deepens everything. When you speak simply, you give people something real to hold on to. You're not hiding behind big words. You're not performing. You're just showing up as yourself. And that kind of honesty builds trust. For example, saying, I was scared when you didn't call. I feel distant lately. Can we talk? When you said that, it hurt me. I miss how we used to laugh. These are the kinds of sentences that rebuild closeness. Not because they're clever, but because they're true.
I think people believe they need poetic language to save a relationship, but really, they need courage and a few clear, brave words.
That's exactly it. Clarity is love. Simplicity is strength.
And all of this really comes back to the heart of what we're trying to do with this podcast. We're not just teaching English, we're helping people speak the life they want to live.
Yes. Because when someone learns how to say, I need help in English, that's not just a phrase. That's someone reaching out for their future. When someone learns to say, I'm proud of myself in English, that's not just practice. That's healing. When someone learns to say, this is who I am, and mean it, that's power.
I'm getting emotional here.
Same. This episode has been so much more than I expected.
And here's what I hope every listener takes from this. Your English doesn't have to be big. It just has to be honest. You don't have to wait until you're fluent to say something that matters. You can begin with what you already have, your heart, your voice, your truth. And as you practice, your words will grow with you.
Beautifully said. And for those listening, if you've been silent because you didn't know how to say something, maybe this is your sign. Start small. Start now.
Write that message. Say that sentence. Even if it's just, I'm not okay. Or I care about you. Or can we talk?
And if you don't know what to say yet, just say, I want to try. That's more than enough.
Thank you, Sophie, for everything you've shared. This episode might be one of the most meaningful ones we've ever recorded.
Absolutely. And for everyone listening, don't forget, you don't need perfect English to speak your truth. You just need the courage to begin.
We're so proud of you for being here, learning, growing, and slowly, beautifully finding your voice.
If this episode touched something inside you, feel free to share it. Maybe someone else out there is also waiting for the right words.
And until next time, keep speaking, keep feeling, and keep trusting that your voice matters.
You are heard. You are understood. And your simple words are more than enough.